Hi, so I'm Mr. Crocker, and today we're going to be talking about polygons to start with, and then we're going to go into quadrilaterals too. So last week we talked about the sort of building blocks of geometry, which are your points, segments, rays, lines. They come together to make angles. They also can make lines or segments that are parallel, perpendicular. Okay, so we talked about all of those relationships. And when you start using those things to build shapes, we also have names for the different types of shapes, not surprisingly, right? So one of the big major groups of shapes that we have are a group that we name polygons. Okay, polygons. You might have seen this ending, like a hexagon or a pentagon or an octagon. Has something to do with shape, right? And then poly is like a prefix that means many. Okay. So there are a lot of different kinds of shapes that can be polygons. In fact, there are only 3 rules, and as long as you don't break one of the 3 rules, you're a polygon. Okay. The 3 rules are no curves, no crossovers, and no openings. Okay. So as long as you are a shape that is made of straight segments, right? No curves, just segments. You are just one shape, right? You can't have lines crossing over each other and you are closed, then you're a polygon. And there are a lot of different kinds of polygons. So I wanted to go through these and just play a real simple game of am I a polygon or not? It's a great game. Okay. So is this a polygon? It doesn't have curves, it doesn't have crossovers, and it is closed. It doesn't have openings. So yes, okay, that is a polygon. Is it a polygon? Well, it's closed. It doesn't have any crossovers, but it has curves. So that is not a polygon. Circles and shapes that are made from circles are not polygons. A triangle. This is a right triangle. Is it a polygon? It is. No curves, no crossovers, no openings. Pentagon. Pentagons are polygons. Okay. Now, sometimes they're a little weird, right? But it does not have any curves. It is made of straight segments. It does not have any weird crossovers or openings. It is a polygon. Okay. Oh, just trying to confuse you. So I crossed it out after I said yes. That is a polygon. Okay. Yes. Now this shape breaks a rule. It breaks the no crossovers rule. This is a crossover. Okay. That is not a polygon. Is this a polygon? No, it is not. It has lots of curve, right? Not a polygon. Is this a polygon? Yeah, it is. That's just sort of a sideways rectangle, right? That is a polygon. What do you think? I'm thinking yes. Yes. Okay, this shape, do you see this? This was not an accident. This opening means that this is not a polygon. Okay. Now, also, 3-dimensional shapes like this cylinder and this cube, they are made of polygons. Well, this is made of polygons. Okay. But when we talk about polygons, we're only talking about 2D flat shapes. We're not talking about 3D shapes yet. Okay. So 3D shapes are made of polygons, but they are not themselves regarded as being polygons. Polygons are just flat, these types of shapes. Okay, now, some polygons, part of the polygon family is its own family, and we call that family quadrilaterals. Okay, quadrilateral. So, quadrilateral has that prefix quad, And a quad means four. Sometimes people call four-wheelers quads, like I'm going to go down to the lake and ride my quad. They're talking about something that has four wheels. A quadrilateral is a polygon with four sides, a four-sided polygon. Okay, so all the polygon rules apply, and you have to have exactly four sides. Now, there are quite a few different shapes that have four sides. So we can sort of sort these by two things, by their angles and by whether or not they have parallel sides. Okay, so the most rigid quadrilaterals are squares and rectangles. Okay, so they have four 90-degree angles, right? Right angle. All these are right angles. Okay, and these are definitely quadrilaterals. They have four sides. They also have two sets of parallel sides. And here's what I mean by that. The top is parallel to the bottom. They're going the same distance. Okay, so to contrast that, if I drew a shape kind of like this, okay, the top is not parallel to the bottom here. Okay, so the top is parallel to the bottom, same distance apart. The right side is parallel to the left side. Okay, two sets of parallel sides. Rectangles have the same thing. 490-degree angles. Top is parallel to the bottom. Right is parallel to the left. Okay. The only difference between squares and rectangles is that squares have four equal sides, and rectangles have these are equal and these are equal, right? They're not all equal. So squares and rectangles are quadrilaterals. They're kind of the most quadrilaterals, okay? Now, we can go one step back, okay? We can take something that sort of looks like a square, but it's tilted, and it looks something like that, okay? I call it a lazy square sometimes. So this does not have 490-degree angles. It doesn't, but it has four equal sides, and even though it is tilted, the top is parallel to the bottom and the right is parallel to the left. Okay, two sets parallel sides. It doesn't have the right angles though, and that's why instead of calling it a square, we call it a rhombus. Okay, so a rhombus is like a lazy square. It's not standing straight up, it's kind of slouched over. There's the same thing for a rectangle, right? We've got rectangles, but we also have lazy rectangles. And a lazy rectangle looks something like that, okay? So it has the more I try to make that side perfect, the less perfect it will be. So I'm just gonna leave it alone, okay? Two sets of parallel sides. The top is parallel to the bottom, okay? But it doesn't have four equal sides. It just has, like a rectangle, it has top and bottom are equal, right and left are equal. Okay, these are called parallelograms. Okay, rhombus is a lazy square, a parallelogram is a lazy rectangle. They are all quadrilaterals. Squares, rectangles, rhombus, parallelogram, all of them are quadrilaterals because they have four sides and they are polygons, okay? The difference between these and these is that these have 90-degree angles, right? Nice and square. These are slanted. Okay, still quadrilaterals, just a little bit different. Now, we can go even a step back, okay? Still in the quadrilateral family, we have shapes that look like this, okay? Sometimes they look kind of like a shoe, and sometimes they look like half of a hexagon, okay? So, still have four sides, they're still polygons. These shapes are called trapezoids. Okay, so we kind of classify these shapes by asking the same questions over and over again. Do they have four 90-degree angles? No, they don't. They don't. This one has no 90-degree angles. This one has a couple, but none of them have four. So they're not squares or rectangles. Do they have opposite sides parallel? Well, this is parallel to this, right? Top and bottom may be parallel, but this is not parallel to this, right? If we extend this, eventually those will intersect. So it only has one set of parallel sides. One set parallel sides. And it's the same thing with the half hexagon here. The top is parallel to the bottom, but the left and the right are set like this. And if we continue that, they will eventually intersect. So they are not parallel. One set of parallel sides, just one, not two. That makes you a trapezoid, okay? So a trapezoid is a quadrilateral, still a four-sided polygon, just like squares, rectangles, parallelograms, and rhombuses. But if they don't have two sets of parallel sides, then we call them a trapezoid, okay? Now, if we go even a step further back from the perfect quadrilateral, right, we get something that looks kind of like this, okay? And I think these are actually kind of hard to draw because they're supposed to have no parallel sides, okay? But sometimes you accidentally draw like a parallelogram. So if it has 0 sets of parallel sides, then we would call that a kite. Okay? So those are the quadrilaterals. That is the family of polygons that we call quadrilateral. What do they all have in common? They're all four-sided. Okay? That's what they have in common. How are they different? Well, there are a couple of them that have 90-degree angles, squares and rectangles. Some of them have opposite sides parallel. Okay, all of these have opposite sides parallel. These have right angles, these don't. Rhombus, parallelogram, right? Square, lazy square, rhombus. Rectangle, lazy rectangle, parallelogram. Then we get even weirder. We get into quadrilaterals that don't have two sets of parallel sides, and those are the trapezoids. They just have top and bottom parallel, okay? And then we get into even weirder, the kites, right? Okay, so if it's a four-sided polygon, it's a quadrilateral.